Good evening, gentlemen. Today, I'm going to be talking about why you feel stuck. And this is particularly for those of you who are trying to end your out of control behavior with pornography and masturbation. If you're one of those guys who often feels like, you know what, I've tried different things. I've tried different systems. I've purchased different courses. I've gone through 12 steps. I've worked with a counselor. I've worked with a therapist. But despite all of that, I just don't believe that I'm able to follow a system. So you start telling yourself that either these systems don't work for you, or you tell yourself that I'm just a person who has something inherently wrong with me. I'm the type of guy that even if I was given a system, I'm not going to be able to follow through. Where does that come from? That comes from something called self-efficacy. I have some notes that I took because I just wanted to share this with you guys before I shut down for the evening. But self-efficacy, gentlemen, is a set of beliefs that determines how well you can execute a course of action which is required to deal with a certain situation. So what does this mean? How do I translate that? It means it's a set of beliefs that determines your level of competence in completing something if we gave you a set of actions. So the example I'm going to use here is ending your out of control behavior with pornography, but you can apply it to anything in your life. So let's say you were given a system and we shared the system with you. Like, these are the things you need to do. Immediately, as you look through the system and you start to experience doubt. You're like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. What if I fuck up like the times I fucked up the other time, right? What if I don't understand something and I get stuck? What if I lose motivation, right? That it means that you have low self-efficacy, right? And low self-efficacy, of course, it affects your motivation. It affects your sense of well-being. It affects your ability to accomplish things. Now, interestingly enough, for those of us who struggle with an out of control behavior with pornography, it has a lot to do with the behaviors that are associated with that. So men with low self-efficacy have a tendency to isolate themselves a lot and be in isolation. We have a tendency to have experienced repeated failures, right? Many of us have negative childhood experiences. In fact, I'll use myself as an example. Now, some of you may have heard this story before, but when I was in kindergarten, all right, I had high self-efficacy. Because I remember in kindergarten doing basic math, like, all these little blocks. They were teaching us addition and subtraction. There were these little workbooks where they would show you fruit and toys and teach you how to add and subtract. And I felt amazing. I felt great. I felt like I can do this. This is if I was given new things, I was like, I can master them. And the teachers were like, good job. And all the kids were like, great, we're winning. We're doing this the right way. But something happened when I transitioned from kindergarten to grade school. I remember my first day in grade school, and I remember very well because I pissed myself that day. I peed myself. Here's what happened. I'm in grade school, and we go from counting oranges and apples, right, doing addition and subtraction in kindergarten, to suddenly doing long division and multiplication. Now, long division just blew my mind. I had no idea what the heck was happening. And here's the worst part. I don't know whether it was a teacher thing. This was years ago. All the other kids around me seemed to know what they were doing. They all seemed to have gotten the memo that I had missed. And I remember just sitting there going like, I don't understand what's happening. What's up, Carlos? How you doing, bro? Thank you guys for watching, by the way. This is a live video. Thank you. I appreciate you guys who are taking the time to join me. I'm talking a little bit about something called self-efficacy, the reason why you feel stuck, even when you have a system to accomplish something. But anyway, long story short, I'm there in grade school and I'm completely I don't know how to do this long division thing. And I get so freaked out, so scared, because this is the first time in my little childhood that I'm the person who sucks at everything, that I end up peeing myself. I wet myself on my first day of grade school. And this happened to me in kindergarten before. It happened to me not because of low self-efficacy. It happened to me in kindergarten because my parents dropped me off and I felt abandonment. So I developed this sense of abandonment that they were leaving me in kindergarten, peed myself. I'm in grade school. I don't get long division. I feel like I pee myself again. I'm taken outside to the playground and there are kids there. They take my pants off and they hose me off. So there's all this shame that I experience, and I don't know long division, and I'm ashamed in grade school. And needless to say, this follows me for the rest of my academic life. The shame and maybe the trauma of it. I can laugh at it now because I've done a lot of self-work, but it seriously impacted my life. And I didn't believe that even that if I was given a teacher, if I was given a guide, and I was given a system, I didn't believe that I could learn. I thought that I would fuck it up somewhere. Have you guys experienced that? Right? Have you guys been in that situation? Let me know in the comment section wherever you're watching this, right? This is broadcast to YouTube and Facebook, everywhere, right? But let me know if you've experienced that. Carlos says, yeah, dude, it was hella embarrassing, right? What's up, Isaac? Eldarska, how you doing, brother? Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. Right. So I experienced this, and this affected me. Now, here's the great thing about self-efficacy. There are 3 ways that you can develop self-efficacy. And one of the things I'm very empathetic with this, and my reboot strategists are, we're very empathetic and sympathetic to men who come into our program, but they experience low self-efficacy. So you get on the phone with us. You're like, JK, I've heard about your system. You talk about it. You know this inside out. You've lived it. And it sounds good. I want to be a part of it. But you get on the phone for an hour with the reboot strategist. They customize the program for you. They show you how this is going to help you end your behavior within 90 days and rewire your brain within 1.5 to 2 years. And you're ready to go. But at the last minute, this fear comes up. But what if I'm not able to do it? What if the urges are just overwhelming? And even if I have a system, I'm not going to use that system. But what if I don't finish it? What if something comes up? What if I don't give a fuck? What if I become apathetic? All these fears come up. And sometimes that sabotages you and you're not able to move forward. But sometimes you join, you become a part of something. And in your first week, your second week, in a course, reading a book, whatever it is, you just go like, I don't know if I can do this. I'm afraid, and it overwhelms you. How many of you have experienced that before? Because I know I used to experience it a lot. So here are 3 ways that we help you improve your self-efficacy. Even if you join our program or you learn from us even for free and you're like, but I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to follow through. The first way is you can model other people, right? We put you with people who are advanced in their reboots. So for instance, in the porn reboot intensive, it is not unusual to be around men who have full control of their behavior for up to 1 year. Occasionally, we'll have some of the brothers who have been off porn for 2 years join us in the group or join us in some meetings. But what does this do, right? It doesn't mean you need to learn the tips and techniques from them. It's you can model certain things that they did when they were at your stage of the reboot. Hey, man, what was it like in your first 3 months? Right? What were your withdrawal symptoms like? What did you do when you were experiencing withdrawal symptoms like day after day, where you felt like, oh my God, every day I am experiencing these crazy strong urges and I don't know what to do about them. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. Do these tools even work? So you learn from others and you model what they did, right? The second way that you can improve your self-efficacy is feedback. Feedback is so critical. Many of you are out there trying to control this behavior on your own, and you're not getting feedback. You're trying to get feedback from me by leaving a comment on my public Facebook page or by leaving a comment on YouTube. I can't give you the appropriate feedback that way. You need feedback from human beings, like in Zoom, in the video, like in detail, where people can tell you like, hey, man, yeah, you did that right. Great job, by the way. But, if you tweaked this or if you applied this in a different way, or if you set your filter to this level, or if you had this person as your accountability partner, or if you created this boundary around this certain thing, or if you implemented this type of self-care, you'd probably get a different result. And you're like, okay, let me try that. And when you get feedback from multiple people, it increases your self-efficacy, right? Your ability in being able to execute a certain course of action, which is required to deal with that situation that we're talking about is your compulsive behavior with porn, sex, or masturbation, right? The third way to improve your self-efficacy is by participation. Now, participation has been scientifically proven to help you get to higher levels of thinking and higher levels of critical thinking. Now, here's the problem with the internet. On the internet, we think we're participating, right? When you're on a forum, when you're in a group, you think you're participating. But unfortunately, we've lost the ability to actually participate on online forums. Why? Because on these forums, we are either trying to impose our belief on somebody, or we disagree with somebody and we're just focused on showing them how much we disagree, or we're trying to busy being in an echo chamber. You're in an echo chamber where your ideas are just echoing round and round and round. And you cannot develop a higher level of self-efficacy if you are in an echo chamber. I'll give you an example. If you are in a forum or you're hanging out with guys who say that willpower and increasing your willpower and discipline is the only way to quit pornography, right? When you hear somebody say that you don't need willpower, you only need a little bit of it, but actually what you need systems. Like you need accountability. You need to stop working against your brain. You need to work with your brain. What does that mean? That means that when you use willpower, which is finite, your brain is going to fight back against you, right? And you don't even have the coping strategies to deal with that. Or when you are in an environment, let's say when it comes to a compulsive behavior, where you believe that the only way to end your out of control behavior with porn, sex, or masturbation is to find the root cause, and you hear somebody say, you don't need to find the root cause to control your out of control behavior with high-speed internet pornography. Now, if you don't know how to participate, if you don't know how to have a conversation with somebody and listen to where they're coming from, why they talk that way, why they speak that way, and your response is always like, fuck that, that's not real. You need to find the root cause. Why? Because you never participated with other people and learned how to be critical. Your education when it comes to certain things is being around forums, is being in echo chambers, is strongly agreeing with somebody because they're an influencer and not developing your own ideas about things. Is this making sense, guys? So basically, participation leads to higher levels of critical thinking. And thus, you're able to, at the very least, explore other people's approaches to doing certain things. And this applies to every area in life, right? If you believe like, oh, all wealthy people are evil, they made their money by taking advantage of people. Well, you're never going to be able, it's going to be very challenging for you to get to a point where you are financially free. Why? Because you have created this belief that, they do things a certain way. You never try to see it from their point of view. So how can you learn to have what they have? All right. Enough said on that. The final thing I want to talk about is how to know if you have a low self-efficacy. All right. Now, there are three things that I found in my 9 years of coaching men to freedom from pornography. The first, brothers, is if you are a guy that when you are in a negative environment doesn't just mean, oh, my home is negative or my work environment is negative. It could also mean your online environment. These days, when I say environments, I'm talking not just about physical, I'm also talking about your virtual environments. If you are in an online or offline environment that is negative and your default response is depression, you may have low self-efficacy. So the environment is negative, but you do not know how to rise above it. You eventually get pulled down by it. That's one thing, all right? Not the only thing. You could be depressed in that environment, but it has to come with these two other criteria. The second criteria is in the face of failure, each time you fail, you regress into apathy. What does this mean? It means that when you experience failure, instead of getting curious, well, why did I fail? Why did this happen? Let's revisit it. Let's learn a lesson from it. Let's find a way to not make this a failure. Or you get pissed. You're like, you know what? I can't believe I failed. I'm going to push. I'm not that kind of person. This is not in tune with my identity. Instead of doing either of those things, your response is, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not even going to try. I failed. This is just my history. I'm not going to do it anymore. So again, number one, if in the face of in a negative environment, you get depressed, that's the first thing. The second thing is when you experience a failure, you retreat into apathy. And the third one is when you find yourself in an unmotivating environment. So if you're in an environment where everybody is neutral, everybody thinks the same way, nobody's pushing themselves, you, even though you are not comfortable in that environment, even though you are not happy or fulfilled in that environment, you never increase the intensity of whatever you need to do to get out of that environment. You are likely to stay there with everybody else because you look around at everybody else and go like, well, everybody else is here. Even if I tried, I can't get out of there. I can't be like those people. It's kind of like the little chicken that saw the eagle and it's just like looking at it's actually not a chicken. It's a little I forgot. It's a little eaglet, right? That fell out and was raised by the mother hen, and the hen has raised these chicks and this eagle. Now the eagle has lived like a chicken its whole life. It's pecking on the ground, and one day it sees an eagle, right? Now the way the story goes is I believe that the eagle actually flies with its family. But what if it went the other way around? What if you're the eagle that was raised as a chicken, and you're just looking up and you're looking at those eagles and you're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Those things are like scary. They are the kings of the sky. But you don't believe that you have what it takes to fly. Low self-efficacy. A quick summary, gentlemen. Again, you probably have low self-efficacy if, number one, in a negative environment, instead of going beyond it or making yourself so unbelievably positive that you can escape that environment or you can stay positive in that negative environment, your response is depression. If, number two, when you experience a failure, you regress into apathy. And if, number three, when you find yourself in an unmotivating, neutral-ass environment, you're unlikely to break out of it or put in the necessary work to generate enough momentum to leave, then you might have low self-efficacy, which simply means that you do not have the set of beliefs that is a prerequisite to taking certain actions to deal with a certain situation. What does this have to do with ending your behavior with pornography? Basically, gentlemen, if you don't believe that you can follow through with a system, I don't give a fuck what your excuse is. But JK, you don't understand. I've relapsed so many times. JK, you don't understand. My sex drive is so high. JK, you don't understand. In my culture, you can't have sex till you're this age, and I need an outlet. JK, you don't understand. It's as if it takes me over and it possesses me and I have zero control. JK, you don't understand. I'm not like you. I don't have strong willpower. I don't have discipline. It doesn't matter what your excuse is. If you don't believe that given a system, you could follow it and get results, nothing is going to work, gentlemen. So what do we do in the Porn Reboot system to help you with this? I don't want to be all negative and end this on a negative note. I'm coming to the end of this. Is we teach you a very simple concept of wins. We teach you how to, this is a very, very simple, again, I always say this about the Porn Reboot system. It's simple, but it's not easy, right? Because the concepts sound very simple, but implementing them is a whole different thing. And that's one of the big problems. A lot of guys who hear about the program, that's one of the problems they have. They hear it and it sounds too simple, but they could never implement it. They're looking for something complex. Oh, that's too simple, JK. I need to go work with a therapist and dig into the original wound, the root cause. And when I go and find the root cause, then all my problems will be magically solved. That's bullshit. That's not how it works. You ain't even got the coping strategies to deal with your root cause. What if you find the root cause and it's some really traumatic shit, right? You're slipping because you're pissed off that your internet is slow. You're slipping because some girl rejected you on Tinder. You're slipping because you got ghosted on a date. And you think that finding the root cause, that deep trauma, you're going to be able to not slip? Dude, that's going to destroy your life. Guys, think common sense, right? So what we teach you in the Porn Reboot system is how to use wins to build up your self-efficacy, so that you can believe that you're able to be motivated, you can have a sense of well-being, and you can accomplish certain things. I'll give you a simple example. Let's say you're a guy who doesn't even know how to start his morning right. And we teach you how to start off your morning right, develop a great morning routine so that you can get through the day biochemically in the right way. Some of you guys think that you have a shitty day and you're emotional and you're pissed off about things and you're crashing at 3 p.m. because that's just the way things are. you don't even know that it may have everything to do with how you wake up in the morning. And many of you don't even know that how you wake up in the morning has a lot to do with how you go to bed at night. So let's say we just take that little piece there, the mornings. And you're a guy who sometimes wakes up late, sometimes hits snooze, whatever the case may be, sometimes sleeps in. And we teach you how to wake up at the time you want to wake up and have a great morning routine. Now, by great morning routine, I don't mean like, oh, I took a shit, I did some push-ups, I looked through Instagram, and I prayed. Now, that's not a morning routine. We teach you a solid morning routine that anchors your day, because you are going out into the day as a porn addict, and there are all these little urges, all these little triggers that are going to throw you off course. You're like a ship going out into the ocean with storms, right? And you need an anchor to kind of hold you down so that you don't get overwhelmed by the storm, right? You get what I'm saying? The storm being a slip or a relapse. Now, if we teach you how to do that, and each time, maybe 3 days out of the week, you get the morning routine right. Now, the first thing you've done is you've learned from us. You learn from the brothers in the group who have great morning routines. You're like, man, this guy has been off porn and masturbation for 1 year. He's a single dude. The only time that he has any sort of sexual behavior is when he's actually intimate with a woman. But apart from that, he doesn't need to masturbate. He doesn't need to view pornography. I want to be like him. Then you notice he's got this amazing morning routine. So you model him. You're like, I'm going to follow his morning routine. And then you learn like, oh man, his morning routine rocks because this dude is prepared the night before. The night before he lays out the clothes he's going to wear. The night before he actually has his to-do list written. The night before he's prepped for the day. So when he wakes up in the morning, he's not wasting energy making decisions. Oh shit, what should I wear today? Oh my God, like, what am I supposed to do again today? Should I go to the gym now? Or should I run and lift weights? Or should I just work out at home? Is the gym even open? He's not wasting energy with those things. So you learn that, you model that. Then you come and you share it with the group. You get feedback. The group goes like, dude, that's great. I'm glad you learned that. I learned this as well. Great job. The guy who you're modeling says, great job, man. I'm glad that you tagged me in this post. Here's something else I'm going to share with you. And he shares something else with you. You get feedback. You feel good about yourself that you've shared that win. You're not perfect. You haven't done it every day. And then final thing is you have conversations with people. You participate. Somebody might come in and go like, hey, man, the reason why you're only able to do this 3 days out of the week instead of 4 days out of the week is, I don't know, let's pick a random situation. You could be going to bed. Let's say you're married or in a relationship. You could be going to bed at the same time your wife goes to bed. But you don't want to do that. You feel like you need to stay up a little bit more, play a little bit of video game, watch your own show after you guys watch the show that both of you guys watch together. He's like, you know, it's your belief that you need some sort of entertainment from a tough day that makes you go to bed later. And you don't really agree with that. So you guys have a little bit back and forth and you talk and you hear from different people. But what's happening is, even though there might be a little bit of conflict does breed intimacy, but it also breeds some critical thinking when you are in a positive environment. And that's how learning from others and modeling them, getting feedback from the group and participating helps improve your self-efficacy. All right. So gentlemen, I'm kind of like deviating a little bit, but that's the point of all of this. The point of all of this is just to let you know that if you find yourself constantly stuck and afraid or not confident in your competence, in your ability to go through something, if you often find yourself comparing yourself to others when you're in a system, you're like, oh my God, this guy is better than me. This guy, he took action and he accomplished this in such a short time. I'm not able to do that. It's probably, not definitively, but probably because you have poor self-efficacy. And there is a way to improve on that. And there's a way that we work on that in the Porn Reboot system. All right, gentlemen? So that's kind of what I'm sharing with you guys today. That's just my little message for the evening. For those of you, wherever you're watching, if you're interested in the Porn Reboot system, the system is free. All right. See, my alarm just went off. So it's time for me to move on to something else. The system is free. All right. It's right here on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. You can watch all the videos. The entire system is in there. It's just that it's spread across 400 videos. You can listen to my podcast, the Porn Reboot podcast. I release 4 episodes a week every week. YouTube 4 videos a week every week. And you can also join our Porn Reboot Facebook group, which is called the Porn Reboot Group. And finally, if you are at a stage where you're ready to end this behavior, you're like, listen, I've been trying all kinds of shit, JK. I either need some feedback from you guys on what I'm doing wrong, or I want to work with you and I want to be around men who have been off pornography for 2 years. I want to meet them. I want to talk to them. I want to be in groups with them. And I want to see that they are regular dudes, not some weird guys with weird issues, just regular guys who are successful or who are ambitious and who are following this system. I want to be surrounded by those men. Then go ahead and put in an application. All right. Speak to one of our reboot strategists. And if you're not sure how to do any of that, just shoot me a DM. Send me a message on Facebook. I will respond to you when I get a chance. All right. I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to join me on this live video. I wish I could engage with you guys a little bit more, but I got to travel early tomorrow morning. And so I got to end it here today. I appreciate you guys. Talk to you later.